They aim to make their mark in the battle. We'll hear from our White House correspondent at the debate shortly. Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif dismisses the US impositions of sanctions on him, saying they won't affect him. Fears, though, that the US's move again heightening tensions between the two countries. And the Ebola epidemic in the city of Goma in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo widens with a second death right as today marks the first anniversary of the outbreak. I'm going to speak to the World Health Organization in Goma in this news. Good to have you with us. I'm Stuart Norval here on France 24. So they sparred over healthcare, they were attacked over their criminal justice records, and they verbally fought, sometimes angrily, in the second of back-to-back Democratic presidential debates. The two frontrunners, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, really slogging it out in a contentious encounter. The debate's about 6 months before the first nominating contest is due to be held in Iowa. Perhaps the cutest moment coming as Biden's comment to Harris was picked up during the introduction of the candidates. He said simply, "Go easy on me, kid." Well, let's hear, though, a moment from the debate as they discuss racism.
I find it fascinating. Everybody's talking about how terrible I am on these issues. Barack Obama knew exactly who I was. He had 10 lawyers do a background check on everything about me on civil rights and civil liberties, and he chose me, and he said it was the best decision he made.
Thank you, Mr.
A part, which is that the vice president has still failed to acknowledge that it was wrong to take the position that he took at that time.
Well, earlier on, I spoke to our White House correspondent, Philip Crowther, who's at the debate for us. I asked him who shone.
Well, there were two candidates who were centre stage, literally, here on the debate stage in Detroit. First of all, of course, the man who's ahead in the polls, that's the former Vice President Joe Biden. And then the other one who you might be able to see just over my shoulder here, that's the senator from California, Kamala Harris, who's just now speaking in the spin room here and giving her view of her very own debate performance. She is somebody who was attacked on stage by many of the lesser candidates, as was the former Vice President Joe Biden. Why? Because they are ahead in the polls, first of all, but also because there are subject matters on which the likes of Joe Biden can be attacked. He's had such a long time in politics. He's 76 years old. After all, he has a voting record that doesn't always look great. There are one or two candidates who've attacked him on his political positions in the past when it came to racial segregation, for example, when it came to criminal justice as well. But Joe Biden, contrary to the last debate that took place in Miami around a month ago, well, he did manage to defend himself that little bit better. If you're really looking for winners and losers from this debate, well, the former vice president did better than last time. Kamala Harris, who you just saw here behind me, the senator from California, did well again. She might be going up in the polls. And then Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, who's also right now doing the rounds here in the spin room next to the debate, the Fox Theater here in Detroit. He also came out as one of the winners.
Philip Crowther there talking to me a short while ago from Detroit. Now, US media says intelligence officials have told them that the son of the former al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden is dead. Officials said to have spoken without giving any more details on where they believe Hamza bin Laden, himself a notable figure in the militant group, died. Some US media also saying the US had a role in his death, which it's believed happened in the past 2 years. Osama bin Laden was killed, you'll remember, by US special forces who raided his compound in Pakistan back in 2011. Hamza was thought to be under house arrest in Iran at the time. Documents recovered from the compound indicating aides had been trying to reunite him with his father. Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif has dismissed the US's opposition of sanctions on him, saying they will not affect him. The US's move targeting him directly and potentially hurting chances of diplomatic talks aimed at raising tensions between the two countries. Zarif saying ironically on Twitter, "Thank you for considering me such a huge threat to your agenda." Sam Bradpeace reports.
In yet another effort to turn the screw on Iran, the US has sanctioned the country's top diplomat. But Mohammad Javad Zarif appeared unfazed.
The US's reason for designating me is that I am Iran's primary spokesperson around the world. Is the truth really that painful? It has no effect on me or my family, as I have no property or interests outside of Iran. Thank you for considering me such a huge threat to your agenda.
US officials announced the sanctions against Iran's foreign minister on Wednesday, freezing any assets held by Zarif in the United States. Iran's top diplomat has been central to talks with foreign powers over the country's nuclear program, which he insists is benign, and led negotiations for the 2015 nuclear deal. The move to sanction him is seen as part of a wider strategy to place pressure on Iran, according to US officials. While such measures are historically rare, Donald Trump also signed an executive order in June placing sanctions on Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Relations between Iran and the US have deteriorated since America withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal in 2018. A series of incidents in the Strait of Hormuz involving tanker seizures and drone shootings have seen the situation intensify in recent months.
Let's have some other world news for you now on the programme. And the Russian President Vladimir Putin is ordering the army to help firefighters battle huge wildfires in Siberia, believed now to be covering 3 million hectares. That's an area almost the size of Belgium. Environmentalists, though, saying the move unlikely to produce a quick breakthrough, dubbing the fires an ecological catastrophe. A petition circulated online by an ecologist has garnered thousands of signatures demanding authorities take tougher action. Switzerland and the Netherlands have suspended their contributions to the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. The suspension's pending the outcome of a probe into alleged mismanagement and abuses by authority of the agency's top management. UN investigators have opened an inquiry after an internal report alleged serious ethical abuses at the highest level. And negotiators from Sudan's ruling military council and main opposition coalition say they've made progress on the sticking points in discussions on the transition from military rule and say they will hold direct talks within 48 hours. That according to an opposition leader. The on-off talks on how to run the country were due to start on Tuesday, but were postponed again after the killing of 6 people at a rally on Monday. Now, the Ebola epidemic in the city of Goma in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo has widened as today marks the first anniversary of the outbreak. A second person has died there and a third case has been diagnosed with another 15 more people quarantined. Across the country, the death toll now at 1,803. Well, we're going to talk now to the World Health Organization. Dr. Margaret Harris joins us from Goma, in fact. Thanks very much for being with us on the programme. I know you've been calling this a global emergency for several weeks now, but how worrying is this second death now in Goma?
Well, we've always been very concerned about any person arriving in Goma with active Ebola, because indeed this is a huge city of close to 2 million people, and it's the gateway to other countries. There's a land border that's very, very busy. It's one of the busiest crossings in the world between RDC and Rwanda. But it's also a hub for flights to other countries and to the rest of the country. So, indeed, we've been preparing for a long time.
So what needs to happen now? Because I know there's been a lot of controversy there, hasn't there?
Identified.
Sorry to interrupt, but I know there's been a lot of controversy there over the use of a second new but experimental vaccine. Now, the first vaccine that's in use has been effective.